listening to Mad Mike's Smile Time Variety Cast.
Hello everyone, bonjour tabarnak, and welcome to another episode of the Smile Time Variety Cast. This is Mad Mike here with you as usual, and today I got a very special episode. I am being joined by a longtime fan of mine and a Patreon subscriber. He is known as Hayden718. I'm going to call him Hayden for this episode, and we are going to discuss religion in metal. We are going to discuss Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection, Opeth's Still Life. So hello Hayden, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's great to have you join us. So I learned recently that you are going to be going to Argentina in a couple months for a mission, and I just want to know a little bit about that. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing?
So I've been called to serve as a missionary in Santa Fe, Argentina for 2 years. I start on October 9th, so pretty soon, and I'm really excited. And basically, I'm going to go down to Argentina after I spend about 4 to 6 weeks at a missionary training center in Mexico, and I'm going to spend the next 2 years of my life teaching people about the gospel of Jesus Christ, you know, what I believe in, and also just doing whatever we can to help people down there because, you know, everyone needs, you know, someone to talk to or, you know, help them out in life sometimes. And yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Absolutely. Wow. So we're going to dive a little bit back there. So you're going to Mexico for a little bit, and then you're going to Argentina afterwards?
Yeah, so, sorry, it is a bit confusing. So I start online missionary training on October 9th, and then on October 18th, I go down to Mexico, Mexico City, where they have a missionary training center.
Gotcha.
Because I'll be speaking Spanish in Argentina. And then I think it's November 24th, I'll be heading down to Argentina finally.
Nice. Wow. It sounds like a really exciting trip.
Yeah, it's going to be something.
Yeah, man. So just in getting to know you the last couple of years, and it's been a great thing getting to know you the last couple of years, and I've learned that you are Mormon, correct?
Yeah, we go by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, though.
Okay.
Sorry, it is a long name, yeah.
I do apologize for the mistake there. So just getting an understanding of the denomination there, can you dive into it a little bit for me?
Yeah, of course. And if you have any questions, I'll just stop me and ask anytime.
Okay.
So, we believe in God, the Eternal Father, and in His Son, Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Ghost. So, we believe in the Bible, of course. We worship Jesus Christ and God. We believe that there are three separate beings because, a lot of Christian religions believe in like the Holy Trinity where they're the same being. But yeah, what really sets us apart from most Christian religions is that we have this book called the Book of Mormon, which is, some people think it's like meant to replace the Bible, but it's not. It's, like something that's meant to complete it. It says in the subtext of it, another testament of Jesus Christ. So yeah, it's another book that testifies of, Jesus Christ and the fullness of His gospel.
Okay, so like it's basically you follow like mostly the same rules and teachings of the other denominations, just like it's your own little thing, right?
In a way, kind of.
Yeah, okay.
We still have like the 10 Commandments and everything, but we do have some different ones and some that are clarified more through either the Book of Mormon or modern day prophets.
Okay. Yeah, because like in Catholicism, that's what I was raised in. I'll be getting into that a little bit later on, but like it's basically we have our own rules as well. Like again, we follow the same things that yours does and everything, but like we have like a couple more: celibacy till marriage. I don't know if that's a thing in Mormon.
It is, yeah.
Okay. And then just another couple things, really, and fish and chips on Friday. But anyways, but yeah, and another reason I brought you on here is just because, like, I've become agnostic over the course of my life. That's my own journey, really. I was raised Catholic, went to church, got baptized, got confirmed and everything. But over time, I just kind of like, started to weed myself off of it. And now I'm kind of where I'm at right now is just agnostic, lapsed Catholic, as some people would say. And, the point of bringing you on here is like, we can disagree on faith and we can still be friends, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like
there's no reason to not like someone because they have different beliefs. That's just stupid, honestly.
Yeah, and like that's like the big point of like why I wanted to bring you on here and have this conversation, because like that is a big thing that happens, is like you have a certain set of beliefs. I do. One person believes this, one person believes that, one person believes 6 Feet Under is better than Cannibal Corpse, the other person is right.
One of us might like Gojira, the other might not, you know.
Yeah. And you know, is like we could still get along and we could still have a great conversation about this, right?
Yeah, of course.
So if you can, like, what's your living situation going to be like? Is like, are you paying for this trip out of pocket? Is like the church you're associated with going to pay for this for you? Are you going to be accommodated in any way? Like, are you going to live like in a hut somewhere or in a hotel or like?
Yeah, of course. So we do pay for at least most of the mission, you know, from like our families.
Okay.
You're just asked to contribute $400 a month.
Okay.
And you know that when you're living in Argentina, $400 kind of gets you a lot.
Yeah.
Compared to, because in America that can barely get you like a McDouble at this point.
Yeah,
but in Argentina it'll get us a lot, luckily. So I feel very lucky about that. But as far as housing goes, I'm not quite sure yet, because we do have like places that we're assigned to live that are, you know, like church rented, and I can't really say where it'll be exactly because I'll be moving between different areas, you know, like every 6 weeks really. So 1 month I could be in like a decent apartment in the city of Santa Fe, and the next I could be in, I don't know, like almost like a shack in like a rural part of my area, which honestly I'm kind of excited for that. It'll be good, you know, learning experience for me.
Do you got any free time you're gonna have? Do you have any plans of like, you know, going sightseeing or everything? Do you want to like climb one of the Andes mountains, or are you going to be allowed any personal time at all?
Yeah, so we do have one off day every week.
Okay.
But usually, you know, that's used to get ready for the rest of the week. But also, you know, you have time to do whatever you want during that, as long as you know, abide by the mission rules and stay within your area there's assigned to.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a really exciting trip for you, and like I'm a little bit jealous. I'm not going to lie, getting to see a really exotic place of the world, and
you got to come down and visit me.
Oh man, yeah, if I could afford it.
Well, that's a very long flight from Canada to Argentina. That'd be like 20 hours at least.
You know, if I did go to South America, I'd probably want to go to Rio de Janeiro and go to Rock in Rio, maybe see Iron Maiden, right? Or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Go back in time to 2001.
Yeah.
Or whenever they played that with the Fear of the Dark video.
Yeah, and last question I do want to ask about this is, like, do you plan on introducing the people you serve or, like, work with? Are you going to be introducing them to any metal music? Are you going to show them Storm of the Lights Bane right off the bat or anything like that?
Oh, no. I not Storm of the Lights Bane for sure. That yeah, but you know, I do think that there's a good chance I will be able to connect with people down there who probably listen to metal at least. So I think that'll be pretty cool. But you know, I won't be introducing people to any of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of metal documentaries, and like it's pretty huge in South America, right? And especially like South Brazil, Argentina, Chile. You know, Maiden always packs house whenever they go down there. I know that. So I feel like you'll be in good company.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So going off of that, I did also bring you on here to just discuss like religion and metal, because there's a big juxtaposition there. You know, obviously metal is this very dark, you know, brooding, evil, some would say satanic sounding music. And
scary, yeah.
Yeah, and
the devil will make you kill your mom kind of music, right?
Yeah. Sacrifice your dog and stuff like that. Right? So, and the juxtaposition there between that and your faith, right? Yeah, so just explain to me, like, from your perspective anyway, like how you listen to metal but you don't let your faith get in the way of like what you're listening to and what the lyrics might be about.
So one thing I do, I usually just stay away from anything that's like overtly satanic or anything.
Okay.
Just because, you know, that does go against my beliefs. And, you know, usually I just don't even find myself interested in stuff that's like that. And also, I kind of think it's really like try hard edgy, so it kind of just makes me cringe anyway. But But yeah, also, like my music taste has never once affected my faith at all. It's, I feel like my music taste has got me through a lot, and I feel like it really is a blessing from God for me personally, just because it's helped me connect with people and, giving me so many great blessings without affecting me in a bad way. But, that doesn't mean I still don't be careful with what I listen to. Because, most of metal isn't like satanic really or anything like that.
Yeah. Shocker, people.
Yeah. What you're telling me Iron Maiden doesn't sacrifice babies or whatever, but
Yeah, man.
but yeah, I do stay away from like the overtly satanic stuff, which I'm not always perfect with. I'm not a perfect person, obviously, but yeah, I just usually stick to stuff that doesn't go against what I believe in.
Yeah, and then, like, even when I was, like, part of the Catholic Church and everything, like, I never really did listen to, like, the overtly, like, evil, satanic stuff. Like, I've gotten a little bit more into it now, but not, like, to the point of, like, oh, I'm gonna, start following this and hail Satan and all that. Like,
I mean, like, again,
just,
like, we're about to talk about Storm of the Light's Bane, and that's not exactly a very Christian album.
No.
Especially when you read the lyrics like Unhallowed or Where Dead Angels Lie. So
yeah. And, like, obviously I was a Slayer fan for a long time, so, like, there's
oh, yeah, of course. I used to be a big Slayer fan.
And just stuff like that. And, like, even when I was, like, very into my faith, like, I never really let it, get in the way or anything, because, like, music is music. That's a part of my life, as well as, like, what I was following at the time. So it was just like, if anyone wanted to judge me for it, like, it was just like, you know what, this is what he put on the earth for me to get into and, like, really help me through a lot of things, right? So
exactly,
like that's where I came from on the whole thing. And it's always been, I wouldn't say toxic relationship between metal and religion, but like a very love-hate relationship. Like,
that's definitely a rough one.
Yeah. Right from the beginning, like, it was just getting lambasted by a lot of, Christian groups and everything, like, all the way from Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath. I mean,
I was just going to mention, like, the song Black Sabbath, definitely didn't help it start off on the best foot.
And, like, and first of all, the name Black Sabbath, just like, we talk about the Sabbath day and everything, and now it's dark, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly.
What's this band all about? And, like, he's having a nightmare about seeing Satan in his dreams, like, what are these people? And of course we talk about the whole satanic panic in the 80s, and that's a whole other ballpark that is just yikes.
We need another episode for that instead.
Oh yeah, like, talking about Maiden there for a bit, like, they had a lot of Christian groups in the South were buying their CDs just to burn them, like, stuff them on like stuff them in a pile and just light them on fire. And then Maiden was just like, well, thanks for buying our records.
Boosting our record sales, like
thank you.
Go ahead.
Like, okay. Go ahead and do it, right? And I do want to get into, like, talk about our religious experiences and everything, like personally, and I'm going from this in the most, like, neutral way possible, and, like, I'm not trying to, like, offend anyone, including yourself, like, or anything. And I know I've been a little bit outspoken about it in my Discord and maybe in other places, but, like, I just want to say, like, I've never had an issue with anyone, following what they follow. Like, it's never been a thing for me. Like, I don't have a problem with religion. I don't even have a problem with organized religion. I have a problem with people in power who abuse it, right?
And I've got a problem with that too. Yeah. So
and unfortunately, especially in the Catholic side of things, like, people have really used their influence to, we'll just say, do some not too nice things, right? And and, like, that's basically where my issue lies, in that, like, it's never been an issue for me to, like, talk with someone who is religious. Like, I went to school with a couple people who, like, went to church. It's never been an issue for me. It's just, we each have our own walks in life. We each have our own ways we view things and everything, and we each have our own spiritual journey. And, like, that's, again, going back to the point of, like, we can be different and we can still be friends. And I'll be hammering that point home throughout the course of this. But yeah, I just want to ask you one last thing about this, and it's like your religious experience. And so, were you born into this? Is your family all part of the Latter-day Saints faith? And is it a way to stay close with your family as well? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I was born into it. My parents, grandparents, everyone's a member, but that's not a reason why I'm part of it. Is because my family is. It's something I do personally believe in and have, prayed a lot about and studied a lot about and had to, gain a testimony for myself. So that's not something you're just born with. If you're born into the church, that's something you have to find for yourself. So yeah, it definitely, helps me and my family and extended family stay very close together, because one of the main focuses of our church is strengthening families, because we do believe that, families aren't just for this lifetime, they're for forever. So it really helps us strengthen that bond.
Well, one last question going off that. Do you have any family that's going to be joining you on this mission?
No, I do not, because, it's just like the age range. I'm the second. I only have one cousin that's older than me, and he actually gets back from his mission in like 2 or 3 weeks. He's in Birmingham, Alabama right now. So really excited to see him, though.
Yeah, man. Sounds like just a really, really fun trip, and again, really excited for you and everything.
Yeah, thank you.
And I promise, I hope to have that Seth Putnam documentary done before you leave. Oh, man.
Hey, if you don't, you have 2 years to finish it after, so it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. We're going to take another 2 years. It's my one Patreon donator is
it's good. Yeah, that video, by that time, the video will be longer than the entire AC discography. So,
yeah. I mean, I got to check that. But yeah, going back and so your background and then to my background, it's just I was born and raised Catholic. I was baptized pretty early in life, at 4 years old, got confirmed at 12. And unfortunately, so full disclosure, I'm bisexual. I don't think I've ever tried to hide that from anyone on my channel or on my Discord or anything like that. And Catholicism is very, very strict when it comes to that. It seems like they've loosened up, in the Vatican and everything about this, because again, you gotta get with the times, right? So it's
yeah.
And for a long time, because of my faith, I struggled with accepting that about myself, right? Because it was just so not what this faith's about and everything. And so it was a big struggle there. And then I found out later on in life that I have Native in my background, right? Native in Canada, I have Algonquin in my blood, at least an eighth. I'm not sure. I haven't gone on Ancestry or anything and figured out for sure. But it's at least an eighth to my knowledge, probably a quarter. And of course, Canada, Indigenous, I don't think I need to get into what's been what's happened out of there, right? And
it's really sad. Really just natives in America too. If you learn about the Trail of Tears and all that, it's really sad.
Yeah. And of course that was the residential schools were all headed by the Catholic Church, and it's they've been very, very slow in holding themselves accountable on this, and again, I have to emphasize this. I have no issue with the faith at all. It's just people in power who have unfortunately abused it way too much than they should. And, I do believe people should be held accountable for their actions. And, it's just I've never seen that from this side of things, right? And so those are two big things. And again, the music I enjoyed and everything, and I just... it was a while before I became lapsed. It was those two big things that happened. That's why I'm agnostic now. It was just from where I'm coming from on this, I just realized at some point that I didn't want it in my life. I didn't need it in my life. And, I'm going to choose my own personal happiness over this. And, in order, and again, it's just like you, just like anybody else, we all need to be happy in our lives, right? And,
for sure.
Some people, you need what you need to be happy in your life, and you got to get rid of the things you don't need. So that was basically it for me. And I had my reasons, and I had my justifications for doing it. And again, even though that is my path, that doesn't mean everyone has to have the same path as me, right? So that's kind of where I am on the thing. And like, and I know I've been outspoken about that, especially in my Discord and the private religion chat in the Discord, especially. And like, if I ever like, you know, offended anyone, you know, from that, like, I do apologize. Like, it's not my intention. It was just like an intention to like explain, you know, what I'm all about and everything. So, but again, I do apologize if I've like intimidated anyone or like, you know, scared anyone from that or anything.
But yeah, and you know, that really is just really sad to hear that you've had to go through all that, I think, because I don't know, it's just really sad to hear that you've had to go through all that, especially with your ancestry and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really sorry that that's been the case for you. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, like, I do want to say, like, I know it's not everybody, and I know it's not like, you know, I know it's not everyone in the faith that's like done that. And, you know, it was just a set group of people who just refused to hold themselves accountable for their actions. And, you know, unfortunately, it's like, it's what kind of led me to where I am now. But you know, I'm happy where I am, and like, I'm happy about me. And, you know, if I do go back, or if like I find another denomination or anything like that, you know, only time will tell there, but I'm happy where I am right now. And it seems like you're happy where you are, and that is awesome. And like, again, I'm really excited for you and everything. And I hope this trip, like, I hope it's enlightening for you, and I hope that, you know, you get everything out of it that you possibly can. And I hope you come back making a few friends and everything. And again, like, when you do come back, I'd like to bring you on the channel and just like discuss the whole thing and like tell me your best stories if you want. Like, it's totally your call.
I would love that. Yeah,
man.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. 2 years down the road, when you got a big bushy white beard and everything, you're coming down from like
yeah, I'm looking like Moses or something.
You're coming down from the Andes Mountains and everything. Oh man, it'd be funny. Yeah. So again, looking forward to that, and like, I'm super excited for you, and I hope you have a lot of fun on your trip, man.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
That's really nice of you.
Moving on now. So I also did bring you on to discuss a couple albums. You recommended this one. No, you recommended both, actually. One of them is Still Life, which we will be getting to. Still Life by Opeth. But this one is Dissection, Storm of the Lights, Bane. So just quickly getting into this from my side of things, I had never listened to this album before, and when you recommended it to me, I'm like, I have a chance to listen to this one now, yay! Because like,
finally,
it was always like on my listening list, and you know, on my bucket list, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, you know, I really need to get around to this one, because I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I've heard like how influential it is and all that, and how it influenced black metal, how it influenced, you know, black and death metal as well, just pure death metal. And we're going from talking about our faiths to talking about
Dissection.
To Dissection, yes. So,
which was led by someone who was completely like the opposite of everything I believe in.
Yep. Oh yeah. So,
what a great transition.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right? So it's like, so I listened to the album, and you know what? Like, I honestly, it was something I should have listened to a long time ago, because wow, I actually really loved it. Just my first thoughts on it right now are like, you can really hear a lot of like influence that it had on Opeth, really, and like other death metal, thrash metal bands.
If I remember right, in like one of the like liner notes for one of Opeth's albums, they thank Dissection just for basically existing. So
yeah. Well, yeah,
especially for those first two Opeth albums, they definitely take a lot from Dissection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even like on later albums, like I can hear like the gothy, I call it like the gothy acoustic thing that they do, and Dissection does that a lot on this album.
Yeah, and if you think they do it a lot on this album, you should listen to their first album, The Somber Lane, because they do it at least 2 or 3 times more. There's 3 instrumental tracks on that album that are just like classical guitar. So
Oh yeah, and I did want to listen to the rest of the discography from them, but it's like, oh no, I have no time. And this this one here is like, I've listened to it twice in preparation for this, and it's like, oh man, I need to like listen to this like 10 more times to really unpack everything.
Oh yeah,
and take all.
Yeah, I think it's an album that gets better every time you listen to it too.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like a couple notes that I did take on here is like, one thing, and this is something I say about Enslaved a lot, because I went through it in Slave's entire discography this year. Fantastic. Everyone should check it out. Metal Trenches is right. But like this album almost feels like an experience. It feels like
I absolutely agree.
Like an experience. And I feel like that's when, like, okay, first of all, I struggle between calling this like a blackened death metal or like a deathened black metal, or like, it's almost like a perfect mixture of the two. Like it's like a lot of bands like this, they tend to lean too far into the black or lean too far into the death. And this like is almost, we'll pull a page out of Meltdown's book here, make a food reference, but it's like the ingredients are just right, It's like that perfect,
yeah, for sure.
That perfect smorgasbord of black metal and death metal, and it's mixed together in like a Venn diagram, and it's the same thing. But like it's got that perfect mixture for me, and like the black metal aspect of it, and this is when I think black metal is at its best, is like when the entire album just feels like one big experience. Like you can listen to the individual tracks on this album, but I feel like you're cheating yourself if you listen to like one track.
Absolutely.
I feel like
even if you skip the intro track, like you're messing up the full experience if you skip the first track. Mm-hmm. That one just gets me like so hyped up for the whole album.
Mm-hmm. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, really, and like
absolutely,
I feel like if you really want to, like, lack of a better word, experience the album, you should listen to it from front and back. Like, and like that's what I say about like Viking Learveldi of Enslaved, or like again Frost, or In Times.
I'd say the same thing about Still Life, though. It's best when you listen to it from start to finish.
Oh yeah, I've we'll get to that later, but like I've done that on like I've listened to, because I got it on vinyl, like Still Life, and I'm just like,
lucky. I'm so jealous of that.
Sit back and like just play it and like, oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That hits the spot. Okay, so the intro track, At the Fathomless Depths, I just love. Like it's very heavy and very
it's super
ominous,
simple, but also very like sets the right mood for everything that comes after, especially for Night's Blood. Like that leading into Night's Blood is just perfect.
Mm-hmm. And like it just lets you know what you're in for, and like it's just like you don't get a lot of that on, oh my god, I sound like such an old bag right now. You like, album structure is a very lost art, okay? Like, and it's like,
absolutely. Album structure is something I really appreciate in albums.
Yeah, you need like a good intro, like even like say Master of Puppets, like okay, Battery, 5-minute song, but it's like got that acoustic thing that just sets you up for the rest of the album.
Yeah,
right? In it,
and then like, and it's great because it sets you up with this nice, pretty intro, and then punches you in the face.
Yeah, with
Battery. Like that song is so intense and like energetic. It's so great.
Yeah, and like that's what At the Fathomless Depths is for me anyway. It's like an elongated version of like that acoustic intro in Battery, or The Ides of March for Killers, anything like that.
And another one I'd mention is the intro to my favorite metal album, Kiriste Gomen by Trivium from Shogun, because that starts off with this like pretty brief but really nice acoustic bit. That's it's cool because that acoustic bit is the like lead melody from the chorus of the title track at the very end of the album.
Yep.
So it's cool that they start off with that, and then it just punches you in the face with such an intense song. Yeah. I love when that happens.
Good old Shogun, that album.
Your favorite band, yeah.
The album that broke me from liking it. Oh man. That was fun. That was a fun review. But yeah, that's it
was fun to listen to, yeah.
And just going off that into like, Night's Blood and Unhallowed, like I love the little acoustic parts, like especially on like Night's Blood, Unhallowed, and then like on the track Soul Reaper midway through when it's like mixing with the distorted guitars, like I'm like, wow, Opeth took a lot from this.
For sure, yeah.
And the same thing too, like talking about how influential it is, like there's a lot of 3/4 time in this, like it's like a lot of 3/4 with like that same time signature, like in muted palm riffs, and I hear that a lot in like blackened thrash Like especially like we were talking about Hellripper earlier this year, Skeleton Witch. Like really, I'm hearing a lot of Skeleton Witch on this. I don't know if you ever heard Skeleton Witch at all.
Yeah, I have. It's been a while though.
Yeah, and like they aped a lot of this as well, especially with that 3/4 like like that side of that sort of like 3/4.
Such a great like groove kind of though. So it's so great for making like an epic sounding song.
Mm-hmm. And even like going back to like how perfect of a mixture it is between black and death metal, like John's voice. So John, I'm butchering the pronunciation of his name. I am so sorry.
Don't give him like the glory of having his name pronounced right. He's a terrible person.
I know. John Nordveit, not
I think it's Nordveit or something like that.
Nordveit. Okay.
I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong too.
Butchering it. I'll just say John, but like, you know, I apologize to anyone from Sweden. You know, I tried. But that's another one where it's like, we'll get into him as a person in a bit, but like,
yeah,
we'll talk about his singing voice right now. And like, to me, it's like another perfect mixture of like that.
Oh, it's so good.
The black metal shriek and like that David Vincent's like early work, like on.
That's a
Altars
good point.
of
Like a very like quiet sounding.
Yeah,
that
ghoulish sounding voice he had.
Yeah, super ominous. Yeah. It's so perfect for, but like on Altars of Madness, that's the perfect kind of vocal to have for that album. And I think John, whatever his name is, fits perfect for Dissection because of that.
Like it's such a good mixture, and I love his vocal performance on this one. You know, he even mixes some like Norse chants in here, and I feel like that was a good influence on Enslaved, because I will circle jerk Enslaved a lot.
Yeah, like a lot of great bands really took a lot from Dissection. In fact, the entire melodic black metal genre is basically like mostly Dissection worship.
Yeah,
and that's why I love it so much.
Oh yeah, man, and you know, it's like. You know, on the song like Unhallowed, like there's a lot of Norse chants on there, and it's so like really perfectly placed and played at the right time and at the right melody and everything. Yeah, and like looking at this too, like I can definitely see why it's held in such high regard, and you know what, I'm holding it in high regard as well. Something else I do want to talk about too is like again, we're talking about how this album is like an experience. Like that last track, No Dreams Breed in Breathless Sleep. Like,
it's so beautiful.
The piano in it.
I just want to cry whenever I hear it. I know that one of my favorite albums is over, and now there's just this super sad piano bit for me to listen to.
Like we're like looking at the album cover, it kind of looks like a soldier, like who just like went through a very like hellacious battle and everything. Like the album cover itself, and
the death cover, yeah,
and like that last track there, it feels like okay, it's all over, and I'm just sitting back and I'm having myself a shot of my flask, you know, just like
yeah,
chill.
For sure.
Let's just chill for a bit.
I do want to ask, what's your favorite song from it?
Oh. Again, like I feel like it's an experience. Like I feel like
it is for me too, but it is so easy for me to pick a favorite from this.
You know, I gotta go with Night's Blood. Like it's just
good
like,
pick. That's my second favorite, I think. It's just... that song is a crazy experience alone. It's like it starts off so thrashy, then gets into like straight up black metal. It's like this super dark atmosphere. Then it has that like acoustic bit, but then like that acoustic bit leads into such like an epic and melodic, like beautiful part of it. It's so great.
Absolutely right. The way it juxtaposes from the intro too, like it's just like, wow, my God. Like again, like I feel like you need to listen to the first track to really appreciate.
You have to have it start without the fathomless depths.
Yeah.
Like that's the law.
Yeah. That is my favorite track off the album. And like if I were to pick one. But again, like I feel like if you really like, this is for anyone who hasn't listened to it yet, if you're like one of the few like me who like were in a cave for 30 years and didn't listen to it, like, you know, like I would say experience the album in full. Don't like try to listen to like individual tracks off of it or anything. Like, it's like any
especially because the songs are all so long too. Like talk about Opeth influence. Like every song is like 7 to 9 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, but you know, it is a good experience, and The one thing I do want to, like, the last thing I do want to talk about here is like the production. It is phenomenal.
Oh, it's so good.
Like,
it's a bit muddy, but it just, the atmosphere from it is so incredible.
it's the right amount of muddy. Like, it's like
Yeah.
the mud you'd find at like a metal show, like after it just rained and you're moshing and you're just covered in mud. It's that kind of muddy. Like, it's like,
That's a good, it's a good analogy.
Like, I'm covered in this, I'm dirty, I don't give a shit. Like, but like, it's so far ahead of like a lot of black metal production at the time. Cough, we don't mention his name. But like, you know,
we all know who we're talking about, though.
Yeah. But it's so good. And the drums, like, it just sounds phenomenal.
Oh, the drums, the blast beats are so crazy on this album.
Oh yeah, it is a very well produced album, and I got to give credit for that. Like, it sounds like it's got that black metal rawness to it, but like it doesn't take away from the music. Like, that's always, especially listening,
I think it adds to the music, honestly.
Yeah, and like that's always been my issue with like listening to older black metal is like, I want to hear what these people are fucking doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to hear what they're actually playing.
Like, you know, I get that you're trying to create an atmosphere and everything, but like I want to appreciate the notes these people are playing and like the notes they're hitting on their vocals and the drumming. It's like, let me hear what you're doing. You know what I mean? And like, that's the thing here. Like, it's like, okay, I can really hear what they're doing and I can really appreciate what they're doing on this album. And so like the production, that I gave the album a 9, but like the production's a 10 for sure.
Nice.
Like, it's got a very good sound to it, so I will give it that. So before I get into like, you know, overall thoughts, I do want to get into this because I know there's going to be a certain section of the Burzum fanboys and the Falling in Reverse fanboys who are pissed off about my discography videos on those bands, and they're going to watch this and be like, well, like, John is a horrible person too, like, but you like his stuff? You're a hypocrite. 0 out of 10, Mad Mike canceled, unsubscribe, you know? And I do just want to point this out. Like, again, I'm not going to get into like what John's all been about and John Nordveit. I can separate the art from the artist. Okay. Like, I can absolutely do that. You might not think I can, but I can. You know, I think Varg is both a garbage person and a garbage musician. Same with Ronnie Radke. You know, Dave Mustaine, that guy is like, you know, not really a likable dude, but, you know,
no, he's
phenomenal.
So annoying too.
Phenomenal musician.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Megadeth. I'm wearing a Rust in Peace shirt right now, and I'll be the first to say Dave is kind of a interesting, not very likable guy, but his music, it's so just too good sometimes.
Like, yeah, and like Dave Grohl, I'm not a big fan of Foo Fighters. Do apologize, but Dave Grohl, that guy is a Chad. Love him to death, right? And like, I'm perfectly able to separate the art from the artist here. And like, John, he's had run-ins with the law. We'll leave it at that. And like, I know he had some very controversial beliefs and stuff like that. But like, the difference here between, because I know Varg fans are just going to be like, you fucking hypocrite and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't like Varg as a musician, but John's work on this album is phenomenal. So I'll give it that, and I'll leave it at that. Do you want to add to this at all?
Oh yeah, as your local Dissection fanboy, John sucked. He was a terrible person.
Yeah,
like, I do not. He is the opposite of everything I ever want to be. So
yeah,
like, he's as far as being a person, he's the opposite. But like, as far as like a musician, he's everything I kind of want to be, because I just love his music so much. But you know, yeah, I can separate art from artist, and it makes it easier for me knowing that he's been dead for like 15 years and I'm not supporting him still. And I think the murder happened after the first 2 albums came out, so that makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, he's a terrible person, but music's great.
Yeah, again, like, not to speak ill of the dead or anything, like, but like,
I'll speak ill of the dead because he was a bad person.
But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing to, you know, realize that someone so gifted and that you look up to so much as like an artist turns out to be like this, right? Like, you know, I've had that happen
really
to
sad.
me. Like, you know what? I'll go into the movie side of things. Kevin Spacey was one of my favorite actors ever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was one of the reasons I actually got into like film school and everything and wanted to pursue that as a career, because like I loved watching his work and everything. And then like all that stuff happened. And then it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yep. I've experienced that. David Ellefson, he was like the reason I bought a bass. And I waited months for this bass to get to my house because I ordered it. And look, I kid you not, the day after like all that stuff about him came out and was confirmed, my bass finally got here. And I just looked at my bass and like, man,
ouch. Yeah.
It's not good timing.
Oh man. And like even back in the movie side of things, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, love him as an actor. Like he's one of the most inspirational people ever, but like wasn't the best husband. We'll leave it at that. You know, and I'm perfectly able to separate that and everything. Like, it's just like, it's unfortunate that like, you know, that's a blemish on someone's career, someone's life, but like, it is what it is. And like, all you can really do is like, look at their body of work and really appreciate it. Unfortunately for all the Varg fans out there, it's like, sorry, I don't think he's that good, whatever. And like, oh man, that video was a nightmare for me.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, especially the comments. Those were horrific.
Yeah, and like,
even I was like going through them and clowning on people. I never do that.
Yeah, and like, you know, I had a couple people who were like, you can't say he wasn't influential. I did not say he wasn't influential. I said he wasn't as influential as you make him out to be. That is a different thing. Like, it's like, okay, yes, he was, but there was also... Case in point, right here, Dissection. This came out a year before Philosophem, by the way, before Philosophem invented black metal. Or like, you know, same with Enslaved or Hellhammer, Celtic Frost, you know, Bathory. You know, he was one of. He wasn't the only. You know, that was the point I was trying to make.
Well, to be fair, Burzum definitely did inspire decades and legions worth of absolutely terrible black metal bands made in people's mom's basement. So, like, I kind of think he is really influential because most black metal is kind of terrible.
Oh boy.
Just gotta find the good stuff that's inspired by people that wasn't Varg.
Just like imagine if there were still dislikes on YouTube, the bar's just exploding right now. It's like, oh my god.
Bring it.
You know, I'm gonna find you in Argentina, you motherfucker, or something like that.
Oh yeah. Come on. I dare you. That's a joke. Please do not.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it, right? But yeah, like again, just to wrap that whole side of things up, like, again, John, say what you want about him as a human being, but on this album, at least, his work is phenomenal, and I'm perfectly able to separate the musician from the human being. It's really unfortunate that such a lightning rod of a human, we'll leave it at that, produced such an amazing album. And it's like, you're always going to have to think about that when you're listening to it in the back of your mind. And, you know, it's like trying to get rid of that and just like appreciate this for what it is. But it is what it is. And as Forrest Gump says, that's all I got to say about that, you know.
What do I have to add? I guess just going back to the music side of it, I just want to say that Thorns of Crimson Death is one of the greatest songs ever written, and I will die on that hill. Oh, I think there's only one song in all of metal that I like more than Thorns and Crimson Death. That's how much I love that song. So
yeah, and I feel the same way about like Knight's Blood and everything. Like, I'll have to give this album a lot more time and a lot more listens to really fully appreciate it. But like right now, like I really love the album, and the work is phenomenal. The production is great. It's such a good experience from front to back. It draws you in, you know, kicks your ass for like 40 minutes and then like, you know, plays you out with a piano and everything. And it's just so...
the way life should be.
Yep. And, you know, it's a great experience and everything. And, you know, my rating is 9 out of 10 for now. It's probably going to go up at some point with more listens. But yeah, glad you recommended this for me. Thank you very much.
I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah.
And just quickly, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And, you know, great to cross this one off my list.
I'm glad you got to.
Yeah. What would you rate it if I were to ask
Oh yeah,
you.
that's what I was about to go to. I love going through like albums and like reading each song and then averaging it out. This one for me is a 9.7 out of 10 overall,
Mm-hmm.
which there's only like 2 albums that have ever gotten higher than that for me. That's how much I love this. So, like, well, I guess like 3 or 4, but yeah. This is pretty much like the peak of music for me.
Absolutely, yeah. And one of your favorite albums of all time, and this might climb up my list very fast. It's already one of my favorite black metal albums of all time. So that's Storm of the Light's Bane, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed our discussion on that one. We are moving on to another album, and it's a band that Dissection obviously influenced, and that is Opeth, Still Life. Released in 1999 on Peaceville Records, and has gone down as one of the greatest metal albums of all time, and so impactful on the scene, so powerful, so influential, and so good. And I agree with all of that. It's one of my favorite metal albums of all time. If anyone follows my Rate Your Music, rateyourmusic.com/madmikeofmetal for anyone, it is one of the few albums that I gave an 11 out of 10 rating. So that's like more than perfect. And even from the album cover, like, it's just so phenomenal, and like such a beautiful, poetically looking album cover. And going into the music, the way, and again, we're talking about like Dissection, how it draws you in from the beginning. Like, it's just that, like, very, the intro just like kind of fades in, and it's like this very like slow, simplistic, melodic thing. It's like dun, 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 dun. It's like that for like a minute or two, and then it like slowly starts to pick up the pace, and then just and it's like that.
Oh, I love that riff so much.
Yeah, and like we're talking about the More here, and it's such a phenomenal track. And like,
if I could say quick. I said there's only one metal song I like more than Thorns of Crimson Death. There might be 2, and the other would be the Moor. The Moor. Is it Moor or More? Anyway, that song.
Either.
Both these albums, just everything's just so incredible on them.
Yeah, and where do I even begin, really?
It's so hard to know where to begin. There's so much in each of these songs.
Yeah, because like there's such good riffs, there's such good melodies, harmonies, vocal harmonies even. The drumming is just so, like, again, it's got that like that 3/4 time, that, like, like that kind of time signature on it that we were talking about on Dissection and everything. It's done so well. It's got that groove to it. We're talking about some melodies on the More, like we want to get into that a little bit more, like when it's heavy for like God knows how long on that song, and then it slowly fades out, and it's got that like beautiful melody to it, like that dun, 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 that melody to it.
I
like,
see what you mean.
So
all of the lead melodies on this album are just beautiful.
Yeah. And if we're going to talk about that, I got to talk about probably my favorite track on the album, and that's Godhead's Lament.
Ooh,
the second
nice.
one. It's everything that Opeth is about, and then some. And what brings that whole song together is that freaking harmony.
I totally agree.
Da 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 da, like that. Oh my God. Like that part just gives me goosebumps, makes me cry.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just like,
no, I totally agree.
Holy. Like,
and I think everything you think about Godhead's Lament is how I feel about the More. Like, just those 2 songs alone, like, are already just the most perfect things ever.
And it's such a good experience too. And like going from that to Benighted, it was like the proto harvest of like this album, and like just such a beautiful like acoustic track. And he's got that like, slow, like, saw you benighted by your father, like that really slow like whisper to him. And it's so, he does so little, but it does so much with his voice, especially on that track. And going from that to like Moonlapse Vertigo and Face of Melinda. I said my favorite song on the album's Godhead's Lament. My favorite, like, again, this album's like a riff dictionary. But like my favorite riff on that album is midway through Face of Melinda. Like like that da da like when it gets heavy.
Yeah.
Like it's just so.
Oh yeah, I do remember what you're talking about. Yeah, I love that part.
And it like fades into his vocals and everything is done so perfectly on the song. It's like, and diving into the concept and everything, like that's really what I wanted to dive into. If you want to dive into the music a little bit before we move on,
I just want to quickly say that Serenity Painted Death is just absolutely amazing too.
That song's
like
so
the
heavy.
Michael's vocals during the chorus give me goosebumps every time. Like the way he sings White Face, Haggard Grin to Serenity Painted Death. It's just so terrifying.
Oh yeah. And
especially when you know what that song's about. That's basically where
yeah.
the character like goes on a killing spree. It's just insane.
Oh yeah.
And there's that riff, like it has like the intro, then like a clean part, and then comes back with that like kind of riff.
Oh yeah.
I love that one. That's one of my favorites of the album.
Like, yeah, his voice on that is just like a really hungry lion who's just like out for blood.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it. This might be my favorite album as far as, well, I mean, it's my favorite Opeth album, but as far as Michael's vocals go, this might be my favorite. Just because he still had that like hint of black metal in them. It would do some like black metal shrieks behind his death metal vocals, and I think that's just like the best compliment to an already great death metal vocalist.
Absolutely, right? And like especially on that song, it's like he actually like sounds angry. I don't know.
Oh, he sounds like he's actually gonna kill someone.
Yeah. And like again, you good segue, you know, talking about like what was going on in the song and everything. So like to anyone who's lived under a rock for 25-ish years and doesn't know, this is a concept album, and the story of the album is about this main character. I believe he is nameless. He is banished from this city. It's a very religious city, and he is atheist, and he was banished from the city for his beliefs. And after 15 years, he decides to return to find the love of his life, which was Melinda, who he had to leave behind when he was banished. He finds out, so I'm looking through the story right here. I found a website that like explains it.
Oh, I think I know what I know what the one you're talking about is.
Yeah.
I think I used that too.
Yeah. And it's like Godhead's lament. It finds the outcast attempting to conceal his return. He contemplates the consequences, considering leaving for safety's sake, but he does not. His desire to see Melinda again outweighing any concerns for his life. He watches her from afar, discovering that she has become a nun, devoted herself to that life. He contemplates whether it's possible he could stay in the village unnoticed. And then Melinda finds out he's returned. And later, our outcast meets in secret with Melinda. He tries to convince her to abandon her faith and leave with him because he loves her. He tells her that she's been brainwashed and you gotta come with me and blah, 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 blah. It's almost like he's doing the exact same thing to her, what was done to him. In a way, it's like, you know, everyone was like, you are this and this and you need to get away from us. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. But he's like doing almost the same thing to her. He's just like, you are this and this, you need to come with me and all this, right? And then in Moonlapse Vertigo, like our outcast hides in the castle knowing that they would kill him if they found him. As he hides to plan his next move, he realizes he's running out of time to fulfill his task and decides to get Melinda to escape. And he feels like everyone knows he's returned. Going through Face of Melinda, one of the best songs on the album, it basically talks about her for a little bit. She was sworn to the life of a nun, and he is disheartened about this, but he tells her that he risked everything to return to this village, and she tells him that she has this life now, and that's where it is, but she surprises even herself when she tells him that she still loves him, and she's got this inner conflict going on, you know, between like, okay, I really want to follow this life, but also I really love this guy. And unfortunately what happens in the next two tracks is just absolutely fucking tragic. Like almost,
Romeo and Juliet on bath salts.
Pretty much, yeah. And Serenity Painted Death, we were just talking about it, and like he finds that Melinda was taken and hung for being unfaithful to the church which she was married to, and he is just absolutely incensed, filled with every single emotion possible, and again,
Serenity Painted Death.
and like
that was good.
Oh, I kind of hurt my voice there. shit. Yeah.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, I do not have my, I'm not really well trained on gutturals like our boy Michael Ackerfeld. So
Oh, no one is as trained as he is. He's just the
But-
best.
in a frenzy of rage, he assaults and kills every soldier he can and just goes absolutely haywire. Like Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now, he's just like, or I don't know who else, or no, like Anakin Skywalker, like to all those younglings when they killed his mom. He's just
Or
like,
wait, what? Sorry, when they killed
his mom and everything. Like,
Oh, that
like,
wasn't the younglings. That was the
Jawas.
sand.
The Jawas.
The sand people. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids did not kill his mom. That would have been a way darker movie somehow.
Yeah. Or yeah, it was the Jawas, my bad, but like, and then he goes on to, slaughter younglings in the next one, and like that's another fit of rage he just goes into. Like it's almost one of those, he just absolutely loses his mind and kills as many people as he can before he's just like totally exhausted and passes out.
He literally became a Cannibal Corpse song for a song. Like,
yeah, like, oh my god, what a like brutal sounding song too. Like it's so good, and it fits what's being told so well. And then White Cluster is basically, he gets captured, they try to make him repent, but he's just like, no, bite me. And then he's led to the gallows, and looking at his last moment of life, he sees like, the whole like white light and everything, and he feels a hand on his shoulder, and he looks behind him, and it's Melinda standing there ready to join him in death. At last they are together and will be for eternity. And it sounds like a cheesy love story on paper, but it's just presented.
But it's so dark and evil at the same time.
And that too, and like it's presented so well that like you're totally bought into it. And like it was such like, and I talked about this on a previous episode of my podcast too, like it was such a powerful experience for me. We're gonna dive a little bit into like the religious aspects here. Like it was such a powerful experience for me, because this was like, I was talking about how I was raised Catholic, and like I was going through like a crisis about 10-12 years ago, and this is when I heard the album for the first time. And like, just the whole story of a person being outcast just because of his beliefs. Like it was just something that resonated so well for me and what I was going through at the time. And, it really hit me in a deep spot. And it was like an album that I listened to at the perfect time in my life and what I was dealing with. And it was just like, it's a great album on its own, objectively looking at like the musicianship, the production, the vocal performance, everything like that. Like, yeah, 10 out of 10. But as far as like an emotional, spiritual experience for me, it just really hit me in like such a special spot. And like it's an album that I really, really hold near and dear to my heart and everything. And it's like, obviously at the time when I was going through that crisis of faith, I didn't have like, a long lost love that I was trying to find and all that. But like
Mike, we're gonna find you your Melinda.
Oh boy. But like it was,
and that Melinda is Sumo Psycho.
Oh gee, oh my, sorry. Here we go again. Yeah.
Sorry.
You know what? You brought him up, not me. So like everyone, meme on Hayden, please.
Do it. I'm the one with the Sumo Psycho crown in your server.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think Astolfo took that. He just like listened to like, he went on like a binge and like, I think he took it over. But like, yeah, oh boy, Sumo Psycho, there we go. We had to get there.
Sorry, we should get back to what we were talking about. I got us way off topic.
I know. Now I'm just thinking about Sky Sweetenham and, Simp. But anyways, but yeah, it was just such like a powerful experience for me. Like, at the time of listening to it, and it's just something like with more and more listens, I just appreciate more and more. And again, this is my favorite Opeth album. I know a lot of Blackwater Park or My Arms Your Hearse fans are gonna disagree, but that is, I can only speak for myself here, and it's absolutely my favorite Opeth album. 30,000 out of 10. Like, I can't love it enough. I can't recommend it enough. And especially for like the story itself, like I feel like this story could be made into a movie. Like,
I hope it will be someday.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, Hollywood decides to, fund a metal project for once that's not that's not metal lords. That fucking Netflix movie, that was so stupid. But like,
Or what was the Mayhem movie? Lords of Chaos.
Lords of Chaos, yeah. Like, I feel like this could make even a mini series or anything like that. I'm not sure, but like, it's, yeah. But like, going into like back into like the religious aspects of it, like it does say a lot. Like, you know, we were talking about it earlier in this episode, like, you know, how, you know, it's about a village that banishes him for his own beliefs, right? And it's just like, that's not how you do it. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
not at all.
If the people in this city just chose to live in harmony despite whatever beliefs you may have, this whole freaking thing could have been avoided. Like, the whole story could have been avoided.
But then we wouldn't have still life, so, you know.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, well, I agree with what they did then. Sorry, you know what I mean? And
I fully support every terrible decision ever made in this. Yeah.
And then, like, you know, and even like from his side of things, it's like trying to take Melinda away from her faith. Screw all that. Come live with me, happily ever after, and all that. And it's like, you're almost like forcing your beliefs onto her the same way they were forcing the beliefs onto him. And that's that from, and again, I get that from the atheistic community and everything. Like, they're just like, religion sucks, religion bad, okay? And like, y'all need to like get away from the Christian because it's evil and they want to control your life and all that. It's like, you know, do you realize you're doing the same shit that like you're accusing them of doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like, there are good atheistic people in the world who respect everybody, and the same goes on the other side, right? And like, that's what this that's what this like whole episode's all been about, right? And like, same here. It's like both the protagonist in this story and the city are both going about their beliefs the wrong way. And, you know, it just leads to like an absolute tragedy of epic proportions where everyone is dead.
I think something I love about this story is that there's just no good guy in it. Like, Melinda's the only one who was good, and she was the first to be killed. So like, like, everyone else is just bad.
There's a good moral to this story. It's like, when people just are too stubborn with their own core values and core beliefs and everything, good innocent people will get hurt. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, wow, this is really enlightening. But like, like, it says a lot about, you know, where we are, you know, in our world today, and where we are in, you know, I hate using society because I know there's going to be like 20 Joker,
we live in a society,
20 Joker memes and all that, and it's like, I can't even do that anymore. But it's like, it does say a lot about, like, you know, especially in today's environment, one side of people who like are following this side of whatever, and then you got the other side that's like following whatever, and like, you know, nobody wants to meet each other halfway, and because of that, a lot of good people are just getting hurt. And like, if I wanted to like bring this home, it's like, that's what I feel like the main message of this album is all about. I don't know if that was Michael's intent when writing it. Like, I'm sure he just wanted to write a cute love story, but like like, just looking into my interpretation of it, it's just like, this city and this protagonist, you know, they're very firm in what they believe in, and unfortunately they both choose to go about it the wrong way, and this poor woman has to be the one that gets hurt, and unfortunately everybody dies. Like, you know what I mean? So it's there's a way for, you know, say someone like me who is agnostic, and someone like you, for us to like, there's a way we could talk peacefully, even like about these subjects, and still be friends at the end of the day, and still get along, and still wish the best for one another. There's a way for us to live in harmony, and I feel like that's the best way to do it, because then good innocent people do not get hurt, you know? And fuck, we're talking about still life, and now we're just like talking about life.
No, I totally agree though. Like, I've never thought about this album being like a concept of just like how the world is in general, but like, you're totally right. Like, if people can't learn to just coexist with their differences, then stuff like this totally just happens.
Yeah. But yeah, like, again, we're this went way deeper than I thought it would.
I know, this is great.
But yeah, it's just such, again, like, that speaks to this album and just the staying power of it, and how important it is to not only metal but music itself. And like, of course, we could talk about the musicianship until the cows come home. Like, it's, you know,
There's a lot to talk about
there's so much we could turn this into a 5-hour episode, but I am too lazy to edit that.
You've got a Seth Putnam documentary to make, so.
So, but yeah, and that goes without saying. And like the story is so powerful. Like everything about this album is just like, mwah. You know, chef's kiss, perfection.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
I give it like a 30,000 gazillion out of 10. One of my favorite albums of all time. Inner Circle, goated.
Yeah, so I just looked at my phone with I've made my favorite albums list, and this is a 9.4 out of 10 for me. Which again, that probably doesn't seem as high as yours, but I think that's the 6th highest album on my list. So yeah, it's 6th favorite album of all time. Storm of the Lights, Bane's 4th. They're both just everything to me.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, if you haven't listened to this one, get out from under the rock you're living under and check this one out. So yeah, phenomenal album, and thanks for joining me on discussing these two albums. And if you got time, would you like to join on the Q&A?
I would love to, yeah.
So, I do want to apologize to any of my viewers who are looking forward to new album reviews this month. I am foregoing that side of the podcast because, like Hayden just mentioned, I am working on a totally secret Seth Putnam documentary that I just call my next Keeping Tabs video. The worst kept secret in the world, yes. So I'm just having to let other things I'm doing bite the dust for a little while to get this done, and that includes listening to new albums and reviewing them. So, if you were looking forward to that, I apologize, but I hope you understand. So anyways, moving on, we are still going to do the Q&A here. If you want to ask your own questions, just join my Discord. I'm sure you can find the link somewhere on my channel. It's probably on the community page. And be nice for a month, and then I'll give you the permissions to ask a question. So the first question here is from 2222222222222. Kanye West 1241. This guy keeps changing his name, but I know who you are. But anyways, he asks, do you think 6 Feet Under is capable of making a good album? My answer is no. Actually, no. My answer is but oh man. Do you got any thoughts on that one, Hayden?
You know, anything is possible in this world, Mike, but some things are just, I don't have faith in, and 6 Feet Under is one of those. I would love nothing more for them to make the greatest death metal album ever, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking the next one is probably Graveyard Classics 5, and they cover, Queen, I Want to Break Free.
Oh my gosh, don't even suggest that. Chris might listen to this.
Yeah, and honestly, Chris Barnes has become one of the biggest lol cows in metal outside of Ronnie Radke and Varg. But oh man, again, I have never liked 6 Feet Under. I've always thought they were just so generic and so just boring and so just ugh. And his vocals have gotten worse and worse over time. I will say this immediately: Cannibal Corpse made the right decision in dropping him when they.
Oh yeah.
And replacing him with Corpse Grinder, because even though if you want to argue that okay, Barnes was better as a singer on those albums than Grinder is now, whatever. But you know what? Grinder is at least a guy who will take care of his voice, and you can hear that even on the newer Cannibal Corpse tracks that have just come out. He still sounds phenomenal. He can still bark like crazy, and it's just so good. And Barnes, of course, has gone full E. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, it's just ugh. So the answer to that is no, I don't think they can. I mean, crazier things have happened. M. Night Shyamalan made a good movie after making 5 terrible ones with Split. So, again, crazier things have happened, but I don't think so. But anyways, thank you for your question. I don't know. But the next one is from our fellow mod on my server, Fred Durst Simp, aka Blackwater Rust. And he asks, what is your favorite and also least favorite Iron Maiden album covers? My answer for least favorite, it's like the easiest answer in the world. Dance of Death. What the heck was that? It's so it was dated when it came out. Like, ugh. It looks like a horrible AI painting. Like,
oh yeah,
2003. And my favorite, that is probably a cross between Power Slave and Somewhere in Time. Like, Power Slave is just so iconic in its cover, and like, love the whole like Egyptian aspect of it and everything, and like having Eddie as like a pharaoh of sorts was just so cool. But I think I have to give the edge to Somewhere in Time just because of all the Easter eggs on the cover, right?
Yeah.
There's a clock on there. It says 22:58, 2 minutes to midnight. There's like a girl hanging out of like a window, and that's obviously Charlotte the Harlot. And then there's Bruce is holding a brain. That's Peace of Mind. There's so many other Easter eggs that I'm like, I can't even put my finger on right now. But what do you think about this one?
So for least favorite, I'm actually going to say X Factor, because I think Dance of Death is at least hilarious. Like yeah, it's definitely the worst, but I think Dance of Death, it's just so funny to look at, and I think it's entertaining, and also I love that album. But yeah, X Factor is just ugly. It's just looks so bad to me. There's like no color to it. It's just bad. But as far as favorite goes, I probably agree with Somewhere in Time, just because I feel like not only the Easter eggs, but I feel like the cover fits the music so well. Just like the whole like futuristic sounding adventure kind of vibe.
Like, I'm looking at here, like, there's the pyramid from Power Slave on it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the Rainbow Bar and Grill where they played at a lot, and Ancient Mariner's Seafood Restaurant. I got the vinyl with me right now, and, like, the Sand Dune. Obviously,
nice.
That's a reference to Tame a Land and Ace's High Bar. Like, it's just so many cool little Easter eggs on it.
It is, yeah, it is cool. And also, I think my second favorite would be Number of the Beast, just because that's such, like, an iconic image with Eddie controlling the devil. Like, that's so cool to me.
And then the devil is controlling a really small Eddie, so it's like,
it's awesome.
It's got layers to it, right? It's like, yeah, so that's my favorite cover, and least favorite cover is just like, you know, it's such a boring answer because everyone has this answer pretty much, but it's like, and it's
bad.
It's unfortunate,
but it's hilariously bad.
It's unfortunate because that album is pretty damn good. Like, it's one of their better, better Bruce reunion albums, and I love Journeyman on it too. Like, it's such a powerful song for me.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite Maiden albums actually. I listened to it with a friend yesterday. It was great.
Same with Passchendaele. It's such a good song, and like,
oh yeah, what's it called? New Frontier. That's like a top 5 Iron Maiden song for me. At least like top 10. It's so great.
Yeah. So thank you for your question, Fred Durst Simp, aka Blackwater Rust. Hello, by the way. And that's our answer to that one. So the next one is from Basil Bonehead, a fellow content creator of ours who was on this podcast once to talk about Candlemas Nightfall. If you want to listen to that episode, he asks, "What is your favorite side project?" I'm trying to think of a couple.
I can't think of any. Yeah, I can't think of any side projects.
There is a couple. I don't want to say Austrian Death Machine because of Tim Lambesis, and we don't want to go there. But I did really like Austrian Death Machine before all that came out. So that's one. Another one would be, for me anyway, just off the top of my head, would be Ex Dio. It's from the lead singer of Cataclysm. It's one of his side projects. It's like very ancient Roman themed, and it's like a pretty good little side project there. Yeah, they have an album called Caligula in 2012 that I really, really enjoyed, and I would suggest check it out. Okay, I just thought of one. Okay, another one of my favorite side projects, and this is an iconic one, and that's Stormtroopers of Death.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like, again, Speak English or Die. As problematic as some people would find it now, that one was hilarious when it came out. It's obviously a side project from people from Anthrax and a couple other New York bands. Billy Milano, the singer, Scott Ian is in it, Charlie Benante as well. I think Dan Lilker was in the band as well. Hold on. Have you ever listened to them at all?
To Stormtroopers of Death?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tons. Yeah. I used to be really big on Speak English or Die.
Yeah. It's like, again, like it's about this character who's just like so Murica and so just like
it's pretty funny, yeah.
And
but also, like, it's got so many great songs on it. Like, as far as like the full songs go, they're all pretty great, honestly. Like, what's it called? Is it Sergeant D? Is that the
Sergeant D
song after March of the SOD? Yeah. Like those two songs together are iconic. I love them.
Yeah, and again, phenomenal freaking album. Yeah, so those would be some of my favorite side projects right there. I can't think of any others off the top of my head right now, but that's what I got for now. Thank you very much for your question, Basil Bonehead. And again, if you guys want to listen to our episode where we talked about Candlemas Nightfall, just look back into the history of my channel and you'll be able to find it. So thank you very much for the question, Basil. And the next one is from Astolfo the Rider of Black, aka, well, he's calling himself Astolfo Local Cat Boy now. He asks, what are your honest thoughts about the writer's strike and AI potentially ruining fields thanks to greedy billionaires abusing it who are already rich from other people's work? Again, this is a field I'm in. I went to film school, obviously, and there are people in my field who are suffering greatly from what is going on, and I really hope they get what they're entitled to and they get the fair treatment that they absolutely deserve, because writing is a very, very hard thing to do. Writing for TV, writing for movies, writing for whatever. Writing for YouTube's hard enough. Like, you know, it took me 2 years to get this dang freaking Seth Putnam thing going. And, you know, it is a very hard job, much harder job than it looks. And without them, you do not have content, right? So that's where I am on the whole thing. And like the idea of AI taking this line of work over, I struggle with that. I do realize that AI is going to become more and more of a thing as we move forward, and it's going to become more and more part of our daily lives and our working lives and everything. Like, a lot of the blue collar sector is becoming automated. You know, a lot of lines of work are becoming more and more automated as we go. I mean, you go to a Walmart store now, self-checkouts did not used to be a thing. So, you know, it used to be you had a human doing it for you and stuff like that. So, like, I feel like this is kind of like a symptom of what's going on, you know, and it's taking over writing and everything and filmmaking and all that and animation. Like, to me, there is a way. I don't think you can stop AI from becoming a thing, but there is a way to marry it with the human side of things, like the human element. And I feel like that would be the best way to do it moving forward. Like, if you want AI to write a script for you, then fine, but I do think it needs that human touch to it, and, like, you know, it needs the human oversight, it needs human emotion put into it, just like anything else. Like, you know, factories are automated now, but obviously you still have humans looking at the work that the automated factory is doing and, you know, giving it its check mark or doing its little adjustments and everything and all that. And, like, I feel like that would be the best way to go about it here. I know I'm giving it such a loaded answer, and you're probably just like, what is Mike even talking about? But, like, I think, yeah, really the best way to go about it in the future is to marry it with the human element. I don't think you can stop it, because that's just the way the world is going, and you can't really, you can't fight change, unfortunately, and regardless of whether I agree with it or not, that's just the way things are going to go. So the best way is to just incorporate it with the human experience. And
you know, I don't feel like I'm like qualified to speak about this with like the writer's strike or anything, but also I just think I think AI is great for like giving you ideas, but like you need a human to like expand on those and like fully flush it out to something good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that human element is just something that you can't replace with technology. And I don't think, you know, something that someone put their heart and soul into will ever be replaced by an AI. I hope.
Exactly. And like, you can't stop it, but like there's a way to incorporate this while still keeping the human element. So I think that's the best way to go about it. And again, that is what concerns me here, is that there are going to be, you know, very greedy people up top who are just going to be like, oh, we got this now, you're all fired, bye bye. And it's an unfortunate thing, but I really hope, my hope is that smarter heads prevail and that cooler heads prevail, and we can incorporate this new technology the right way. So that's all I gotta say about that. Thank you for your question, Astolfo. I really enjoyed answering that one. So the last question here is from Casey, the Full of Hell Lover. and he asks your thoughts on some of the most notable grindcore bands, such as Napalm Death, Carcass, Pig Destroyer, Brutal Truth, Anal Nakrath, or Nathrak, whatever. So really, I am not the biggest expert on grindcore. I do like early Napalm Death. Scum's a good album. I do prefer Fear, Emptiness, Despair a little bit. Early Carcass, I am not a fan of Reek of Putrefaction. It's so poorly produced, and I get that, like, a lot of people like the production on it. I just don't. I can't hear what they're doing. I could barely hear the vocals, and the drums sound like ass and everything. But I really think they perfected what they tried to do on Reek with Symphonies of Sickness, which is probably my favorite Carcass album. So I do enjoy that one. Pig Destroyer, I haven't really listened to too much. Same with Brutal Truth. But one grindcore band, especially modern, that I absolutely love is Wormrot. I don't know if you've listened to them at all, but Hiss was such a punch in the face last year. Like, that was such
right, I do remember that now. Yeah,
it was such a punch in the face, a kick in the teeth. Like, it was 30 minutes of just, like, you know that one Neil deGrasse Tyson meme where he's just like warping and he's just like, it's like his face is being pulled back and everything. Like, it's like that. It's like, whoa, man. Like, it's so good. Such a good album. And, like, I heard that they might be disbanding, which is unfortunate, but they are a very, very awesome fucking band, so I do love them. And of course, we gotta talk about the legends, Anal Cunt.
The only grindcore band you need.
Yeah, and, you know, and their classic album, the 5,643 song EP, which is just like...
Really, we should have been talking about that instead of Still Life and Storm the Lights Bane.
And it's literally just like blips of like random crap mashed together, and it sounds like shopping carts crashing into each other the whole time. Like, that's what it sounds like. And yeah, oh yeah, we got our boy Seth Putnam there. Rest in peace, you whatever the fuck you are. So, I don't really have much to say about grindcore. I do apologize there. I'm not as well versed into it as, say, my fellow Canadian metalhead, the Metal Meltdown. But I do appreciate the genre. I do have bands in the genre that I do really, really enjoy. And I look forward to exploring more at some point in my life.
So yeah, there's some grindcore I really like. I'm mostly into like death grind, you know. Can we count that, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, if we're counting death grind, Cattle Decapitation is one of my favorite bands ever at this point. Like, their last 4 albums I just love so much, especially Death Atlas. But other than that, Terrorizer's pretty cool. Insect Warfare, they only have 1 album, but it's really good. Shout out to Bestial Tongues, that's Pair of Jeans' band. That's really good.
Yep.
I love them. I've got all their all their EPs on cassette. Like, I really think they're great.
That's awesome. Yeah, shout out to our boy Pair of Jeans. Hope he's doing well out there. And that's pretty much what we got to say about the core of the grind. Thank you very much for your question, Casey. And that is the last question of the Q&A. So, just to wrap this all up, I know we went a little long here, but it was a great conversation with you, and it was great to have you on here and talk about all these things. Thank you very much for joining me and being willing to talk about these things with me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure it was a little nerve-wracking for you, and if it was intimidating, it was not my intention at all.
Oh no, I know you didn't mean for that at all. Yeah. I'm just a nervous person anyway.
Yeah. And the whole point of this was that, like, okay, we can disagree on faith, but we could still be buds, right? And that's...
Oh, yeah, of course.
And, like, again, like, you are absolutely doing a good thing. And, like, literally, this was a dream come true for you, right? Like...
Oh, yeah.
If you want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I don't want to get, like, a little, preachy or anything, but... So almost exactly a year ago, in fact, I remember the Discord screenshots I have of me talking about this was August 5th of 2022. I had this dream where I've had a lot of these dreams before where I've got, my missionary call to wherever I'm going to serve. And, I always just wake up and be like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. But then, just go about my day. But I had this one about a year ago where I actually got called to Argentina.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me for the last year. And I knew that the chances of me actually going to Argentina were low, but I had this burning desire to be there and nowhere else in the world, really. And I carried that with me for 9-10 months before I opened my call. And then I open it and I'm reading it and I see Santa Fe, Argentina, and I just started laughing. Just deep down I knew it the entire time. But yeah, it was literally a dream come true for me.
Absolutely. Oh man, that's a powerful thing, man. That's
yeah.
Wow. Again, you're doing a great thing, and I really wish the absolute best for you on your
Thank you,
journey
Mike.
and everything. And actually, thank you you've supported me for a long time, and supported me on YouTube, on my Discord, and on Patreon as well. That's never lost on me. And no matter, again, that's another thing too, no matter how big I do get, none of what people have done to help me get here and where I'm going to go is ever going to be lost on me. I'll always have 2 feet on the ground no matter where I am. So, and this is part of that, showing my appreciation for someone who is has had my back since pretty much day one, really. So it's thank you for all of your support to me, and it really does mean a lot, and I hope I was able to give back in a way, and I wish you absolutely nothing but the best on your journey. And are there ways to reach you at all, actually, before we go?
So yeah, I have, Discord. You can find me in Mad Mike's Discord, so please go join that because it's a great server, and we want more people there. Yeah. I'm a mod there. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Instagram. If you ever have questions about, my faith or what I'm doing or anything, I'll be on Instagram until I leave in October. My username, all lowercase, is just Hayden, Hayden 718 _. So yeah, you can find me there.
Absolutely.
I'm always open to talk about whatever. So
awesome. I'll try to remember to have a link to that in the comments and everything. So again, thank you very much for coming on here. And
yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. This really was an honor to be on your channel. So because I really have adored your videos ever since I found the Altars of Madness Keeping Tabs video that right after it came out. So yeah, it was great to be on with you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, you're doing a great thing, and I absolutely wish nothing but the best for you on this journey. All right, man?
Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see where your channel is in 2 years when I come back.
All right, so that is Hayden718, who joined me on this episode of the podcast. And be sure to check him out on Instagram and talk to him if you want to. Thank you very much for joining, and thank all of you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Smile Time Variety Cast. We will have another episode at the end of September, and I might be joined by another special guest. We'll see if he has time for that. Who will it be? You'll have to tune in to find out. So, thank you very much for joining. Au revoir, tabarnak!